This is my recap of the third and fourth parts of the Re-Monster anime. You can watch the previous parts with the link in the description below at the end of the last episode. The anime starts when Goburo enters the cave. Everyone inside is shocked to see Goburo's very different changes. Currently, Goburo has evolved into an ogre. Even 1 month after being born, he managed to defeat the ruler of the northern forest, namely the Red Bear. On the 36th day in the morning, after doing training, the goblins were seriously injured. After he delivered an attack using little force, even the armor used by Gobkichi was almost destroyed. Therefore, they had no choice but to stop the training, after treating one of the goblins who was injured as a result of the attack. On the 37th day at noon, when everyone had done a little exercise and was resting, suddenly Gob came shouting for help from Goburo. It turned out that Gob was carrying a woman from the village who was seriously injured. Even her whole body was covered in blood. While Goburo was administering first aid, Gobi explained that when he was digging in the ground, it turned out he was already there. After recovering from her injuries, the woman introduced herself as Returner. She explained that she had been attacked by several humans. Then Goburo looked at Returner's forehead and there was a jewel. He explained that the jewel was a high-level material, and if the jewel was sold, it would probably be worth up to 1 billion gold, and that might also cause human race adventurers to target it. Then Returner prostrated himself in front of the Goburo and asked for help to get rid of the human adventurers. He also explained that his life was very short, that's why he wanted to borrow the Goburo's power to get rid of the human adventurers.
気がついた。いただいてありがとうございます。値は10億ゴルドにもなるとのこと。人間の冒険者たちはどうかあの冒険者たちを退けお力をお貸しください。リターナは
Goburo assumes that in ancient times the creator of the Returner probably managed their treasures, and when the human race attacked him, the core of the Returner would ignite, causing his lifespan to be short. Then the Returner explained that inside the treasure there was a legendary item that Velvet had collected in her lifetime. The Returner told them all that the creator really hated the human race. The creator didn't want their treasure to fall into human hands. He also explained that his master would definitely give the legendary item to Goburo, because he was sure that his master would definitely give him all the treasure. Hearing the Returner's explanation, Goburo immediately agreed and ordered the goblins to go to the treasure room that the Returner had mentioned. Goburo explained that he would only chase away the humans, and he would try his best to persuade them all, but if Goburo failed, he would use a little violence. Long story short, they went to a hole that had been dug by Gobe and walked straight to Velvet's treasure room. The first thing Goburo will do is try to persuade them all, and he asks Gobkichi to hide with the others. That's why Goburo himself will meet the adventurers. After Goburo met the adventurers, suddenly one of them attacked Goburo. But the attack was easily read by Goburo. Immediately Goburo said with stupid people, "Don't you know that this is someone's place, and you want to kill the owner of this place? You even want to take other people's treasures without saying anything to the owner, right?" That's what is called robbery and murder. Because he was annoyed with Goburo, one of the human races attacked Goburo. As a result of this incident, Goburo was very angry, and he attacked the adventurer along with the other goblins. After successfully defeating them all, Goburo took the adventurer's items, then ate them and gained various abilities. After that, they all headed to the deepest place where all the treasures were kept. At that moment, the Returner was very happy because he had been helped by Goburo and then disappeared in front of Goburo. Then a gem from the Returner fell into Goburo's hands, and Goburo swallowed the gem and gained a new ability. He then decided to burn the Velver, but a legendary level artifact fell and Goburo used it on his left hand. After using it, Goburo gained various powers, and now his left hand has returned to how it was before. On the 39th day after completing the mission, Goburo gave 10 weapons to the hobgoblins. Goburo himself took 3 legendary class items, including the Kazaklube Vermilion Spear. Goburo then explained the levels of an item, starting from inferiority to phantasm, while the item that Goburo took, which was just below phantasm, was believed to be able to rule a country. On the 41st day, Goburo, who was hunting in the forest, found a very beautiful giant tree, illuminated by sunlight, which made the tree even more beautiful. After seeing that the tree came from a species of dryads, it was believed they could influence men of other races as their source of nutrition. With their cute faces and smooth bodies, dryads are able to deceive men. Long story short, a woman from the dryads approached Goburo and teased him. Even though Goburo had tried to resist the temptation, unfortunately Goburo's mentality was not strong enough to resist it. However, instead of becoming nutrition for the dryads, Goburo actually got a new ability called the Dryad's Blessing.
彼女の視線一つではともかく今の俺がこのまま流されてしまえばいいからこれまで能力を使うこと
On the 42nd day, Hobsei was seen who was very happy because he had a magic using Hobgoblin member. Long story short, throughout Goburu's day with the girls, he was shunned and even received angry looks from all of them. Then Goburo asked Spinal what was going on, after which Spinal explained that Goburu's behavior in playing with the dryads had been known to them. Long story short, on the 44th day, Goburo felt that his abilities had increased after becoming an ogre. Goburo could even feel the signs of creatures that detected that they were coming. Not long after, the elves arrived rudely. The Goburo race, namely the Goblin, is subordinate to the elf race, where the Goblin race must submit to the elf race. Goburo knew that the elves and humans would fight, so they asked Goburo for help. Gobji's grandfather strongly agreed, but in contrast to Goburo who refused. The leader of the elf nation who heard that immediately wanted to attack Goburo, but Goburo immediately released his strength to teach them a lesson. Goburo then says that if they want to live, they have to let the archers retreat. While frightened, the leader of the elf nation asked his subordinates to follow Goburo's words. Then Goburo took out a legendary spear and said that he didn't want to help him, but he also lived in this forest, and if humans wanted to destroy him, then he wanted to help him. Instantly, Goburo used his legendary spear as he stuck it into the ground and created endless spear shadows. Seeing this, they immediately left the place in fear. In the morning, Goburo hunts gray slime in the forest and eats it. Instantly, Goburo gets a new power, namely auto-replication. This ability, just by dripping his blood, instantly turns into a baby Goburo. But the baby Goburo was very small, not only that he could see himself and their senses were connected. Goburo had a brilliant idea. He asked Gobmi and the others to make clothes, which were made with Goburo's blood, so that if they were in a dangerous situation, Goburo could know. On the 47th day the elves returned. Goburo said that they all did not learn from their mistakes. When these elves wanted to attack, Goburo immediately released his power, so that because of that power they couldn't move, and he also released the power of the spiderweb to catch them all.
悪い予感が的中したな。よし、全員。どうしてまた
On the 48th day, Gobkichi was seen fighting a monster in a forest. After defeating him, Gobkichi has reached level 100, which means he can evolve to the next stage. The next morning, the hobgoblins were shocked because the Gobkichi had evolved. Gobkichi has just evolved to the special variant stage, where the skin of the Gobkichi is demigod of flame skin, which is very hard. Gobkichi doesn't want to compete with Goburo, but he doesn't want to be left behind by Goburo's changes. Then Gobkichi invited Goburo to fight together, which Goburo agreed to. During the fight they both attack each other, but Goburo quickly defeats Gobkichi. He is the strongest because he has several advantages in fighting. From this fight it was proven that Gobkichi had become his rival. During the break after they fought, Goburo suddenly dreamed and saw a shadowy figure who said sorry, and he wanted to ask for help and give something. Then Gobi invites Goburo to show something, and it turns out that the hobgoblins have evolved because Gobkichi motivated them all. Furthermore, Hobsei had evolved when he woke up in the morning, and it seemed like Hobsei had grown into a family of lords. Usually the lord's family didn't have such a mark, and this mark turned out to be almost similar to the Goburo mark. After that, they all tested their new abilities, and the results made Goburo very surprised, and it was very likely that Hobsei would evolve into a spell lord later, and Goburo gave Hobsei new clothes and a magic wand.
ホブセイさんも彼女がなったのはハーフスペルロードらしい。
何をぼさっとしているか、能力がどれくらい上がった。
いや、本当に十分です。
が使っても大丈夫ですよ。
ランクアップで正式なスペル。新しい武装です。
バレちゃった。サトちゃんも
ランクアップ率が異常に俺であることには間違いないだ。
On the 53rd day, while searching in a forest, Goburo saw a human being killed by someone. He thought that humans had unique abilities, and when Goburo killed him, he got the abilities of that human figure. At night, Spinal shows the results of her discovery to Goburo. When Goburo tried it, he thought it was Sake, and this made Goburo happy with the discovery. On the 57th day, it was seen that Gobi had succeeded in defeating the unicorn beast. After that, Goburo tried the monster timer's abilities on the unicorn, and as a result the animal became their first tame animal. And at that time they also got other animals such as black wolves, which now serve as guardians for women from the human race. On the 59th day, something very surprising happened to Gobaru, or Rubelia, who thought she was a novice knight, has now evolved into a formidable knight. When Gobaru ate some meat, suddenly Rubelia asked for that meat too. When she ate the meat, Rubelia suddenly got a job, namely Noir Soldaf. Rubelia is required to eat monster meat, otherwise she will die, but if she succeeds she will experience a tremendous increase in strength. At night, Gobaru found out that the kobold race was being chased by something. When Gobaru wanted to find out who was chasing him, he couldn't see him because at that time the sky was dark, even though he had used his detection ability. Because of this, they were all ready to confront him, and it turned out that what was chasing them was a skull monster made by magic. After defeating the monsters and successfully saving the kobold race, they all thanked the Gobaru while prostrating themselves before him. Gobaru then told them all to mention the wound first, after which they would talk about what had happened. This is the end of Re-Monster episode 3 and 4. Thank you very much for staying on this channel and watching our videos. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel so we can keep you up to date with our latest content. See you in the next video.